leader whose journey reflects what this platform stands for: building at scale and choosing education as the most important system to invest in.
Please put your hands together for our very own Shibu uncle to set the tone for the day.
Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. It's a privilege to welcome you to the 5th edition of InvokED. As I look around the room, what strikes me most is the diversity of people who have come together: leaders from government, industry, philanthropy, civil society, education, and youth. These are people who usually work in different contexts, facing very different pressures, choosing to be in the same space for the cause of education equity. That to me captures the spirit of InvokED. The challenge before us is not lack of commitment or capability. It is that our efforts are often fragmented, well-intentioned, but disconnected. And to me, the leadership question of our time is this: how do we move from fragmented effort to shared responsibility? InvokED was created as a space to hold exactly this question. A dialogue where leaders could step out of their silos and reflect on what leadership really means in a complex public system. Kumari and me, we started our philanthropic journey more than 25 years back. Over time, one insight has become increasingly clear. No single actor or sector can transform education on its own. Government brings scale and legitimacy. Industry brings innovation and execution capability. Philanthropy brings patience and risk capital. Civil society brings proximity to communities and clarity of context. Progress happens only when these strengths come together through collective leadership, where responsibility is shared rather than delegated. Recently, I had a very interesting visit to Uttar Pradesh. Now, whenever I go to the field, I try to learn. It's a time for me to introspect and learn, and to test my own assumptions about how change really happens on the ground. In a block near Lucknow, I spent some time with various set of leaders: block officials, school leaders, teachers, and academic support staff working on foundational learning. What stayed with me was the way responsibility was being held across all these roles. In the schools I visited, the conversations were not about instructions or circulars which they received. They were about ownership. The people I talked to, the teachers, the head teachers, spoke about their children, their school, their role in making every school better. And that is when system reform truly begins. It does not begin with authority or control, but with agency. and people choosing to act together. This becomes even more important in the world where we are entering. Technology, including AI, is increasingly shaping how the world around us functions. This brings real possibilities but also real responsibility. Technology does not automatically reduce fragmentation. In fact, without shared leadership, it can even deepen the divide and inequality. What matters most is not the tool itself, but whether we stay anchored in the real problems we are trying to solve and whether we put people, equity, and ethics at the center. In today's time, this is a critical leadership question. And this is where the idea of commons matter. Shared responsibility cannot survive in isolated solutions. It needs shared foundations, open knowledge, shared platforms, and ways for many actors to learn and work and improve together. Commons allow leadership to be distributed rather than concentrated. They help systems learn, adopt, and endure. And this is also where investment choices matter. If we are serious about shared responsibility, we need to invest not in individual programs, but in network weaving and systems change. In the relationships, capabilities, and shared platforms that allow people to work together. We need to back innovations that don't just perform in isolation, but help us reimagine education and schools as part of a connected ecosystem where learning, leadership, and improvement reinforce one another. Without them, innovations will stay siloed and progress will remain fragile. A few months ago, I was at a UNGA event in New York. I was in a room from people from many countries, all deeply committed to education equity and the future of children. Despite being from different countries, despite from very different contexts, the challenges sounded similar: fragmentation, short term thinking, and difficulty working across institutions. But I also saw a shared belief that progress depends on collective leadership and shared responsibility. InvokED is part of that global conversation, grounded in Indian realities but relevant far beyond. So, what does this moment ask of each of us? From government, creating conditions for leadership to emerge at every level. From industry, applying innovation to real system challenges. From philanthropy, investing patiently in the long term change. From civil society, keeping communities and equity at the center. And from all of us, moving from parallel efforts to shared responsibility. This is where missions like Shiksha Logam matter in enabling leadership capacity, and where movements like Shiksha Graha matter in turning shared intent into collective action. Now I want to close with a simple reflection. The future of education will not be shaped by one organization, one technology, or one sector. It is shaped by people. Each one of you in this room carries a part of that future. Through your choices, your collaborations, and the questions you are willing to sit with. InvokED is our invitation to practice that kind of leadership, not in theory, but together. To listen deeply, to learn from one another, and to imagine that shared responsibility can truly look like in action. I hope these 2 days give you moments of reflection, moments of connection, and moments of renewed purpose. That you leave not just with ideas, but with relationships, not just with insights, but with a deeper sense of possibility. Thank you for choosing to be here. Thank you for the work you already do in your own space. And thank you for bringing the gift of your presence, your attention, and your heart to this collective journey. It is my privilege to welcome you to InvokED 5.0. May these days strengthen our resolve and remind us that meaningful change is always built together. Thank you.